Mascarene Islands. The Mascarene Islands English. French Mascarenes or Mascarenhas Archipelago is a group of islands in the Indian Ocean east of Madagascar consisting of the islands belonging to the Republic of Mauritius as well as the French department of Réunion. Their name derives from the Portuguese navigator Pedro Mascarenhas, who first visited them in April 1512. The islands share a common geologic origin in the volcanism of the Réunion hotspot beneath the Mascarene Plateau, and form a distinct ecoregion with a unique flora and fauna. Geography. The archipelago comprises three large islands, Mauritius, Réunion, and Rodriguez, plus a number of volcanic remnants in the tropics of the southwestern Indian Ocean, generally between 700 and 1,500 kilometers east of Madagascar. The terrain includes a variety of reefs, atolls, and small islands. They present various topographical and edaphic regions. On the largest islands, these gave rise to unusual biodiversity. The climate is oceanic and tropical. Mauritius is located 900 km east of Madagascar. It has an area of 1865 km2. The highest point is 828 meters. Mauritius is the most populous of the Mascarene Islands, with a population of 1,252,964. Réunion is located 150 km southwest of Mauritius. It is the largest of the islands, with an area of 2512 km2. Piton des Neiges, 3,069 m, an extinct volcano, is the highest peak on Réunion and in the islands. Piton de la Fournaise is an active volcano on Réunion, which erupts frequently. Rodriguez is located 574 km east of Mauritius. It has an area of 109 km2 and reaches 393 meters elevation. St. Brandon, also known as the Cargados-Carajos Shoals, is a coral atoll group consisting of a barrier reef. It is the remnant of one or more large volcanic islands which sank with the rising tides. Today it is administered by Mauritius. There are several submerged banks or shoals. Saya de Malha Bank is a large submerged bank. Prehistorically, it was a group of volcanic islands and was joined to the Great Chagos Bank until continental drift pushed them apart. Souden banks are a group of low-lying banks on the Mascarene Plateau. Nazareth Bank is located just north of Cargados-Carajos, and prehistorically they were a single geological feature. Today it is a large, shallow fishing bank. Hawkins Bank is located on the northernmost point of the Mascarene Plateau. Geology. The islands are volcanic in origin. Saya de Malha 35 MYA was the first of the Mascarene Islands to rise out of the Indian Ocean due to the Réunion hotspot, followed by Nazareth Bank some 2,000 years later, Souden Bank and Cargados-Carajos. The youngest islands to form were Mauritius 710 MYA, the oldest of the existing islands, created along with the undersea Rodriguez Ridge. The islands of Rodriguez and Réunion were created in the last 2 million years. Réunion is the largest of the islands, 2,500 km2, followed by Mauritius 1,900 km2 and Rodriguez 110 km2. Eventually, Saya de Malha, Nazareth, and Souden were completely submerged, Cargados-Carajos remaining as a coral atoll. The Réunion hotspot was beginning to cool and Rodriguez came out as a small island. Réunion is home to the highest peaks in the Mascarenes, the shield volcanoes Piton des Neiges 3,069 m and Piton de la Fournaise 2,525 m. Piton de la Fournaise, on the southeastern corner of Réunion, is one of the most active volcanoes in the world, erupting last in December 2021. Piton de la Petite Rivière Noire 828 m is the highest peak on Mauritius, and the gentle hills of Rodriguez rise to only 390 m. The Mascarene Plateau is an undersea plateau that extends approximately 2,000 km from the Seychelles to Réunion. The plateau covers an area of over 115,000 km2 of shallow water, with depths ranging from 8 to 150 meters, plunging to 4,000 m to the abyssal plain at its edges. The southern part of the plateau, including the Saya de Malha Bank, Nazareth Bank, Souden Banks, and Cargados Carajos Shoals St. Brandon, then one large island, was formed by the Réunion hotspot. These were once volcanic islands, much like Mauritius and Réunion, which have now sunk or eroded to below sea level, or in the case of the Cargados Carajos, to low coral islands. The Saya de Malha Bank formed 35 million years ago, and the Nazareth Bank and the Cargados Carajos Shoals after that. Limestone banks found on the plateau are the remnants of coral reefs, indicating that the plateau was a succession of islands. Some of the banks may have been islands as recently as 18,000 6,000 years ago, when sea levels were as much as 130 meters lower during the most recent ice age. History. The early colonial history of the islands, like that of the Caribbean, featured a succession of takeovers between rival powers. The Portuguese, Dutch, French, and British all ruled some or all of the islands. Around 1507, the explorer Diogo Fernandes Pereira discovered the island group. The area remained under nominal Portuguese rule until Etienne de Flacourt arrived with a French naval squadron and took possession in 1649. From 4 June 1735 to 23 March 1746, a single French Mascarene Islands chartered colony under one Governor-General contained Isle de France, now Mauritius, Isle Bourbon, Réunion, and Seychelles. On 14 July 1767 this became a French crown colony, still under one Governor-General. From 3 February 1803 till 2 September 1810 the French colony of Indes Orientales, under a Capitaine General Captain General, included Réunion and nominally the Seychelles. Mauritius was discovered in the 10th century by the Arabs and was first named Dina Harabai, but the first permanent settlement was by the Dutch in 1638. It was seized in 1715 by France, who remained in control of it until the British took over in 1810. Mauritius gained independence in 1968. Rodriguez was first discovered by the Arabs but named after Portuguese navigator Diogo Rodrigues. It was under Dutch control in 1601 and settled by the French in 1691. Britain took possession of Rodrigues in 1809. When Mauritius gained independence in 1968, Rodrigues was forcefully joined to it. Rodrigues remains an autonomous region of Mauritius. Réunion was discovered first by the Arabs, then by the Portuguese, who named it Santo Apollonia. It was then occupied by the French as part of Mauritius. It was first inhabited by French mutineers who arrived on the island between 1646 and 1669. It was given its current name in 1793. From 1810 to 1815, it was held by the British, before being returned to France. Réunion became an overseas department of France in 1946. Climate. The climate of the islands is tropical. At low elevations, summer temperatures December to April average 30°C. Winter temperatures May to November are generally cooler, around 25°C. Temperatures are cooler in the mountains, averaging 18°C. During the winter, short-lived snow can fall on Réunion's high peaks. Southeasterly trade winds blow throughout the year. Rainfall is generally higher on the windward sides of the islands. On Mauritius, average annual rainfall in the lowlands varies from 1905 mm on the windward southeast coast to 890 mm on the leeward side. Rainfall in the mountains is higher, varying from 2540 mm to 4,445 mm annually. Tropical cyclones occur occasionally, bringing heavy rain and high winds and causing erosion and landslides. Flora. The habitats of the Mascarenes vary with the island's size, topography, age, and proximity to Madagascar, the nearest major land mass. As is common among remote islands, the Mascarene fauna and flora display a high degree of endemism, They include over 1,000 species, of which several hundred are endemic. The Mascarene Islands form a distinct ecoregion known as the Mascarene forests. Until Europeans first settled the islands in the 16th century, the Mascarenes are not known to have harbored any human population, and the island's wildlife was still flourishing during the early days of settlement. Today, much of the natural vegetation is gone, and there are many introduced species on the islands. In prehistoric times, the islands were covered in a diverse range of tropical moist broadleaf forests. The plant communities are not homogeneous and comprise at least 5 fairly distinct vegetation zones that reflect variations in altitude and in moisture regime. These include dry lowland forests, semi-dry sclerophyllous forests, lowland rainforests, montane cloud forests, and high-elevation heathlands on Réunion. Coastal habitats include beach vegetation, coastal wetlands, and swamp forests, grading into lowland rainforest on the windward sides of the islands and lowland dry forests to leeward. The dry lowland forests are found on the leeward sides of the islands from sea level to 200 meters in areas with less than 1,000 mm of average annual rainfall. Palms are the dominant trees, including species of Latania and Dictyosperma album, along with the palm-like screw pines Pandanus spp. Semi-dry sclerophyllous forests are found between the coast and 360 meters elevation on Mauritius and Rodriguez, and from 200 to 750 meters elevation on the western slopes of Réunion, where only small patches of such forest now remain. Average annual rainfall in the semi-dry forests ranges from 1,000 to 1,500 mm. Tree genera and families well represented in the semi-dry forests include ebony species in the genus Diospyros ebonacea, Pluristylia spp. Celestraceae, Phytidia spp. Lecythidaceae, Olea europea subsp. Cuspidata olaceae, Cassinia pinnata sapindaceae damae spp. Malvaceae, Terminalia benzocumbrettaceae, and Sideroxylon boutonianum, Sideroxylon borbonicum, and various species of Mimuceps in family Sapitaceae. Shrubs in the semi-dry forests include several spectacular endemic species of Hibiscus malvaceae, Xanthoxylum spp. Rutaceae, Obetia fisifolia urticaceae, and Scalopia heterophylla flackortiaceae. The lowland rain forests are characterized by dense evergreen forests composed of diverse species creating a canopy of 30 meters or more in height. They are found on the Mauritius eastern lowlands from the coast to 800–900 meters elevation and above 360 m on the western slopes. On Réunion, lowland rain forests are found between 750 and 1,100 m. They occur in areas with average annual rainfall of 1,500 to 6,000 mm. Characteristic trees include species of Mimuceps and Labardinaceae sapitaceae, Hernandia mascarensis hernandiaceae, Calophyllum spp. Clusiaceae, and species of Syzygium, Eugenia, Sideroxylon, and Monomaestra myrtaceae. Characteristic shrubs include species of Gärtnera, Chassalia bertiera, and Coffea in family Rubiaceae. Other plants include bamboos like Nastus borbonicus, numerous species of orchids e.g. Angraecum spp, Bulbophyllum spp, and ferns e.g. Asplenium spp, Hymenophyllum spp, Trichomanes spp, Elaphoglossum spp, and Maricha fraxineum. The cloud forests are evergreen rain forests found on mountain slopes with high rainfall. They occur on Réunion between 800 and 1,900 meters elevation on eastern slopes with an average annual rainfall of 2,000–10,000 mm, and between 1,100 and 2,000 meters on western slopes with an average annual rainfall of 2,000–3,000 mm. By 2005, relatively intact cloud forests still covered approximately 44,000 ha on Réunion. On Mauritius, they are restricted to a small area of Montagny Kakut in the island's southwest, above 750 meters elevation, and with average annual rainfall of 4,500–5,500 mm. Trees form a dense canopy 6 to 10 meters high. Typical canopy trees include species of Damaya on Réunion and species of Minimia and Tamburissa monomiaceae on both islands. There is an understory of small trees and shrubs including species of Cyadia asteraceae and Millicope rutaceae. The forests are rich in epiphytes, orchids, ferns, mosses, lichens, emergent tree ferns, Cyathea species, and originally the palm Zacanthophonix rubra, but poaching has wiped out palms in many areas of Réunion. 3 monodominant plant communities are also found in the cloud forests of Acacia heterophylla fabaceae as the canopy tree, which are similar to the Acacia koa forests in Hawaii, thickets dominated by Erica reunionensis ericaceae, and hyperhumid forests of screw pine Pandanus montanus. Subtle pine shrub occurs on the volcanoes on Réunion, above the tree line at 1,800 to 2,000 meters elevation. Average annual rainfall is from 2,000 to 6,000 mm, and frosts occur regularly in winter. Characteristic shrubs include Erica reunionensis and Erica galeoides, Ericaceae, Stoke passerinoides, and species of Hubertia and Cyadia asteraceae and Phylica nitida rhamnaceae. Herbaceous endemic species include Heterochenia rivalceae campanulaceae, Euryaltrix commersonia asteraceae, and Cynoglossum borbonicum boraginaceae. Recent volcanic deposits on Réunion's volcanic summits are covered by sparse grasslands rich in endemic grasses, including Festuca borbonica, Agrostis salesiensis, and Penistum caffrum, along with orchids like Dissea borbonica. Ericoid thickets and thickets of the small tree Sophora denudata fabaceae are found on weathered volcanic substrates. Most of the indigenous Mascarene flora and fauna are thought to have descended originally from Madagascar and African ancestors. The 4 largest families present in the Mascarene Islands are Metaceae, Rubiaceae, Orchidaceae, and Euphorbiaceae, which comprise between 193 and 223 species each, for a total of 831 species, or 26.9% of the flowering plant flora. Another 7 families contain 80 or more species each: Poaceae, Apocynaceae, Cyperaceae, Cononiaceae, Rutaceae, Araliaceae, and Sapitaceae, representing an additional ca. 660 species in all, 21.3% of the angiosperm flora. Ferns are prominent components of the biotas of the islands, especially in the tropical forest. Most ferns disperse easily via ornithotrophy of their spores, allowing fairly frequent colonization from Madagascar and exchange among the Mascarene Islands. The Mascarenes are home to many endemic species of Domyoideae, the monotypic genus Silixalon mauritianum, and members of the family Monomiaceae, the genera Minimia and Trochesia, and species of Tamburissa and Escaloniaceae. Indigenous trees include species of the genera Acotia, Erythrina, Sideroxylon, and Fetidea. The palm genera Latania, Hyophorbe, Acanthophonix, Dictyosperma, and Tectophylla are all endemic to the Mascarene Islands. Other endemic genera include Buranus, Heterochenia, Nesicaudin, Bruisea, and Asteria. There are 24 species of trees and shrubs in the Mascarenes from subfamily Domyoideae, 23 of which are endemic to the islands. The Mascarenes' endemic species are polyphyletic and split into 9 clades. Trochesia appears monophyletic and more closely related to Eriolina and Helmiopsis than to Damaya. All Damaya taxa are included in a clade together with Ruisea and Asteria. This means that Damaya is paraphyletic. In terms of breeding systems, the Malagasy Domyoideae are hermaphroditic, whereas those of the Mascarenes are considered dioecious. The polyphily of the Mascarene Domyoideae suggests that Dioece has been acquired several times. At least 5 colonization events from Madagascar to the Mascarene Archipelago occurred. The evolutionary history of 2 lineages of Mascarene Domyoideae seems to be related to adaptation to xeric habitats. The flora of the islands co-evolved with the island's unique fauna over millions of years. The human-caused extinction of several of the Mascarenes' land animals and the introduction of exotic animals to the islands by humans has disrupted the reproduction and thriving of various island plants. For example, The Tamalacup tree Sideroxylon grandiflorum, often called the dodo tree, is not producing young trees and is threatened with extinction. The extinct dodo, Cylindraspes tortoises, and broad-billed parrots, along with fruit bats, played an important role in dispersing the seeds. Passing through the animal's digestive tract aided in the seed's germination. However, the tree's decline may be mostly due to introduced crab-eating macaques Macaca fascicularis destroying unripened seeds. Fauna. Much of the Mascarenes' native fauna has become endangered or extinct since the human settlement of the islands in the 17th century. Settlers cleared most of the forests for agriculture and grazing, and introduced many exotic species, including pigs, rats, cats, monkeys, and mongooses. Many of the Mascarene birds evolved into flightless forms, the most famous of which was the extinct flightless pigeon, the dodo of Mauritius. 13 additional species of birds became extinct, including the Réunion flightless ibis, broad-billed parrot, red rail, Rodriguez rail, and Rodriguez solitaire. Contemporary sources state that the dodo used gizzard stones and could swallow Ocotea fruits. Seed distribution of at least some Ocotea species is performed by frugivorous birds, and there exist a few reports of solitaires from the Mascarenes without mention of which island these came from, and the term was also used for other species with solitary habits, such as the Réunion blue swampfin and the Réunion sacred ibis. At one point it was even believed that Réunion was the home of not only a white dodo, but also a white solitaire. In 1786, subfossil bones were discovered in a cave which confirmed Leguat's descriptions, but at this time no living residents of Rodriguez remembered having seen living birds. The star constellation Turdus Solitarius was named after this bird. Today 17 endemic bird species survive on the island. Two species, the Mascarene paradise flycatcher Terpsiphone bourbonensis and Mascarene swiftlet Aerodramus franzicus, inhabit both Mauritius and Réunion. 8 species are endemic to Mauritius: the Mauritius gray-white eye, Zosterops mauritianus, Mauritius Cuckoo-shrike lalage typica, Mauritius kestrel falco punctatus, Mauritius Phodiphaudea rubra, Mauritius bulbul hypsipete olivaceus, Mauritius parakeet Psittacula X, Mauritius olive white Isosterops chloronothos, and pink pigeon. The Réunion gray-white Isosterops bourbonicus, Réunion Cuckoo-shrike lalage newtoni, Réunion stonechuck saxicola tex, Réunion olive white Isosterops olivaceus, and Réunion bulbul hypsipete bourbonicus are endemic to Réunion. The Rodriguez warbler Acrosphalus rodricanus and Rodriguez Phodiphaudea flavicans are found only on Rodriguez. Mauritius, Réunion, and Rodriguez were also once each home to one or more species of giant tortoises, now extinct, which comprised the genus Cylindraspes. There are 13 living endemic reptile species, including a number of species of day geckos genus Phelsuma. The island's only native mammals are bats, including the Mauritian flying fox Pteropus niger, which is endemic to Mauritius and Réunion, and the Rodriguez flying fox Pteropus redristis, found only on Rodriguez. The lesser Mascarene flying fox Pteropus subniger is extinct. Freshwater. The 3 largest islands have many freshwater streams which descend from the mountains to the sea. The upper reaches, particularly on Réunion, are fast-flowing and steep with numerous waterfalls. Tamarin Falls, or Sept Cascades 293 m on Mauritius, is the highest waterfall on Mauritius, while Cascade Trou de Fer 725 m ranks 23rd worldwide on Réunion, is the highest of the Mascarenes. The Grand River Southeast 34 km is the longest river on Mauritius, followed by Riviere du Post 23 km. Mauritius has 2 natural crater lakes, Grand Bassin and Bassin Blanc. There are about 20 species of fish which spend at least part of their lives in freshwater. The islands have 5 endemic freshwater fish species: all gobies, Gobiiformes hypsiliatris, cyprinoids, Catalopas acutipennis, Glossogobius coccus, Gobius commersonii, and Oxyurithes guybi. Catalopas acutipinnis, which is endemic to Réunion, hatches in the sea before migrating to the rainforest streams where it lives its adult life. Marine. The Mascarene Islands are surrounded by approximately 750 square km of coral reef. Rodriguez has nearly continuous fringing reefs bounding an extensive lagoon 7 to 20 km wide with deep channels. Mauritius is also surrounded by a fringing reef. In contrast, Réunion has very short stretches of narrow fringing reef along the western and southwestern coasts only. The islets of the Carajos shoals, which have a very depauperate terrestrial biota owing to being so low-lying and swamped during cyclones, are bound to the east by an extensive arc of fringing reef, which accounts for till to 30% of the reefs of the Mascarene Islands. Lagoon reefs and reef flats are dominated by scleractinian corals such as branching and tabular acropora, porites massives, foliaceous montipora and pavona, and sand consolidated with beds of seagrass such Halophila spp. Hydrocharitacea. Among coral reef fishes, Wrasses labridi, dam shellfish Pomacentridae, carnivorous groupers Serenidae, and surgeon fishes Acanthuridae have many species. Wildlife threats and preservation. Today, Mauritius has one of the highest population densities in the world, and on all of the islands there has been a great loss of habitat, and many of the surviving endemic species are still threatened with extinction with little protection. Less than 40% of Réunion is covered with natural vegetation, only about 5% of Mauritius, and almost none of Rodriguez. On Réunion, forest has been cleared for agriculture and then overtaken by introduced plants. Mauritius was largely converted to sugarcane, tea, and conifer plantations. On Rodriguez, the damage has been done by shifting cultivation. Protected areas. 40.6% of the Mascarene Islands land area is in protected areas. Terrestrial protected areas on Mauritius include Black River Gorges National Park, Brasdo National Park, Perrier Nature Reserve, Coeur de Garde Nature Reserve, La Pauce Nature Reserve, Cabinet Nature Reserve, Gouly Pier Nature Reserve, and Bois Sec Nature Reserve. There are 32 designated protected areas on Réunion, including Réunion National Park 1055.15 km2, which covers 63.13% of the island.